So it was my intent to discuss our upcoming Goofy tournament in this week's Facebook video and touch on our upcoming camps and things, but due to events on the national level yesterday, I feel like I can't. And instead, I am somewhat selfishly going to use our social media platforms to deliver a message. And I'm going to ask that if you are the parent of a kid of Asian descent and you feel it's appropriate, share it with them. And please know that I'm currently speaking for myself and not necessarily for our leadership team, and the views being shared are mine. As I'm sure most of you know, I'm of mixed Japanese and Caucasian ancestry, with some of my great-grandparents being born in Japan. Some of my family spent time in the internment camps during World War II, and most of my family have encountered some degree of racist behavior during our time in the United States. As we are discovering as a country, issues of race are not as minor as we grew up thinking they were. While I personally encountered the grossest demonstrations of racism in my life, in my childhood, I've certainly witnessed it over the years, and I've been lucky to have not been as targeted by these behaviors as other Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in this country have, in particular women of Asian descent. But the fact of the matter is this, that whether I have personally recently experienced it to its full extent, and whether any of us have directly witnessed it in our recent past, there are members of the Asian community that are being targeted for being born with a particular skin color, hair, shape of their eyes, and for the culture in which they were raised. It is unfair to our children that this continues into their generation, and I hope others will join me in steps to empower Asians and other minorities and to call out bad behaviors when we see them. Thanks to our lineage, our school's consistently been led by Asians or Asian Americans. Thanks to some of our amazing students, we've had extraordinary instructors of Asian or Pacific Islander descent representing those cultures and those appearances, normalizing those peoples to the rest of our students. And that representation is important. Thanks to our community, outright bigotry just isn't permitted in our schools, as when it's seen, it's called out for what it is, and it's curtailed as quickly as possible. I have made it a point over the years to shine the spotlight on our amazing women, as having female representation has really helped us become a school where women of all ages can be welcomed and empowered in a sport that frankly has a history of sexism. I fully intend to, in the near future, start shining a spotlight on our amazing racial diversity, something I'm really proud of, with our students, black belts, and families from so many different cultures and ethnicities being represented in our classrooms. For our students to become stronger, more cultured, more compassionate, and to have more understanding of themselves and the world around them, we need to make sure that they are taking class alongside representatives of the world at large. It is likely that you have seen calls to action regarding donations to organizations, filling out petitions, and whatnot. My request to you, if I may be so bold, is simply this. If there is an Asian or Pacific Islander owned business that is near to you that you can use the next few days, use it. Asian owned or themed restaurants, grocery stores, and other businesses have really suffered over the last year because of distrust being sown into our lives due to the origin location of the pandemic. If you can, throw them a few bucks, throw them your support and a kind word. I do apologize for the severity of this sort of somber tone, and frankly for taking advantage of my entrenched audience, you all. But given the recent events, I'm unable to concentrate on a goofy, fun tournament, fun stuff we've got coming up. I feel like I have a responsibility to make a statement that frankly might make a difference for one of my students. I know growing up as a child, any Asian representation I saw, any one that was in my community, I appreciated them speaking to me about their experiences because it made me know that I wasn't alone in mine. Thank you so very much for your time. Please be good to each other, respect each other, and I'll see you in class.